Alright guys, welcome to the video today. So what you're watching right now is a 2v2 game battles gameplay. Me and Inspire were playing and we ended up, I think we won the first one. It was like 2,500 to 400, and then the very next one we ended up losing on their host. So the pressure was on in this last game. I ended up doing really well and I'm playing on Gunslinger, and I've been wanting to make a video about this for a while now, talking about potential Gunslinger buffs, kind of things they went wrong with, and that whole sort of scenario, kind of the current state of Gunslinger and how they need to at least in my opinion, kind of improve it. Starting off, I kind of wanted to address the whole situation with nades and melees. Obviously, the nade is the throwing knife comboed by just your regular hunter default melee. So that's fine for now. I'm going to address that in a few seconds. But the main one for me, I think, is grenades. And I think grenades are fine staying the same. Obviously, incendiary is very strong. But in the last patch, we ended up getting a nerf to trip mines, which was very controversial, especially the whole topic of whether or not you should be able to stick people. Of course, like, I don't think for any player that's experienced in Destiny can say that sticking someone takes no skill or shouldn't be rewarded with a kill. I mean, obviously that's debatable. Personally, I think it's not that huge of a deal if stickies aren't a thing anymore and continue to not be a thing. But the main one for me, or the main thing I want to talk about is kind of the reason I think they were nerfed and a reason why I don't think they will be unnerfed in the future. The main point of nerfs and buffs in this game, unfortunately, in this Destiny PvP community as well as PvP communities as a whole, a lot of times nerfs and buffs are based a lot more, not maybe more, but they're based heavily on game balance and community feedback. So for a beginning player who doesn't have a lot of map awareness and doesn't really know how the game works, a lot of times they're very inclined to complain about stuff that will kind of catch them off guard, like a trip mine. If someone has one placed on a wall, if you're new to a game and you're walking around, just imagine for a second you're playing a completely new game, you're maybe not experienced in PvP at all, so you're playing like just a random game, and when you're trying to learn how to play it, you just get killed by grenades that you don't really notice that are just sticking on walls. And I think that's kind of where a lot of complaints came from. So obviously I don't really think it's an issue with them being where they are now, but the main one for me is throwing knives. And I used to be a last word sniper main on Gunslinger for a very long time, and I got really good with throwing knives. And remember how there's that combo with Firebolt, how you could tag someone once with a Firebolt and then finish them off with one last word shot? What I used to do is kind of similar. It's a little bit different, but if I hit someone with a burning knife, if I hit someone once with a last word, they would burn out. So if I pre-fired around a corner, got a last word shot, and then threw a knife and hit them in the body shot or with a body shot, they would burn out. Or vice versa, if I hit them with a body shot first, waited a second, and then got a last word shot, they would either burn out, or if the burn had already done all the damage, then that last word shot would have killed them. And additionally, with last word impact, it's a little bit lower than something like an Isoluna, so you can still Isoluna a body shot and then get a headshot throwing knife kill, and that'll kill them instantly. So that's kind of why I use knife juggler now over something like incendiary blade. But before in the past, if you hit someone once with a last word body shot, you were good to go on the throwing knife headshot. So if you hit a headshot, it would instantly kill them. If you hit a body shot, they would burn out. I just felt like the situation was a little bit better with that. The one thing I do wish they would change though, like regardless across the board, is it's really irritating when you have incendiary blade on and you get a throwing knife off like right as you're dying, but if you get it off at the moment you die or a second before you die, for some reason incendiary blade doesn't proc and your knife isn't going to burn them. Which is one of the main things for me, which I found really annoying. So if that was fixed, I would be highly appreciative. I think that would be a good buff to the subclass. I don't think when we're talking about game balance nerfs and buffs, we shouldn't be making like the gameplay and the experience feel different. It should be stuff that's kind of like back end sort of minor changes, I think. And something like that I think is not going to have too much of an effect on players playing against the Gunslinger, but it's going to make a lot more of a difference how it feels to the person who's actually playing on the class itself. Moving a little bit further on, this is kind of something that's a little bit of an add-on. It's something that hasn't been discussed before, and I don't really think anyone has had an idea about it. But perhaps with all these charged melees, obviously you have the Stormcaller melee, Voidwalker melee, they can give you life regen. You can also get Surge off of it, which is essentially second wind. And then you have Striker melees that do like 167 damage. You have other melees that burn and give overshields and stuff. But if you look at the Hunter melee, obviously you have throwing knives. But the class as a whole isn't really that strong, and I think a melee could be a big reason for that. If you look at someone who's a really good blade player and they're they're warrioring around with their shotgun a lot of times they run the melee ability that gives them very fast cooldown. I think it's called fast twitch, and when you have that extra little range on the melee, it makes all the difference to the player, especially if you're shotgunning or if you're playing aggressive. Having a really strong melee, maybe not range and lock on radius of something like a warlock obviously, but just a little something extra and kind of have a cool little feel to it. Gunslinger has always felt like a cool class and like a badass class to play, but there really hasn't ever been like anything special about it besides obviously before you used to be able to stick people with trip mines and throwing knives and all that, but nothing really felt powerful. And I feel like having an additional little melee that both looks cool and is a lot more effective than the current one, I think could be a good idea. That can also tie into the perk Incendiary Blade, where originally you just have like a charge, maybe 130 133 damage melee, where the animation was similar to Blink Strike, but the range was a little bit shorter, and obviously the fist would be covered in like fire and molten lava or whatever. Just have some sort of little extra effect on top. I think it would make it look a lot cooler. Just a little something extra. Obviously, if you have Incendiary Blades, you can make it so every single melee where it's charged, you'll have it so that your melee burns people. I think that also could be a good addition. I wouldn't mind seeing changes and tweaks to intellect cooldown so you don't get your golden gun as often, but I just want to see Gunslinger become like a cool and fun class to play. And like currently, if you see like a Gunslinger in Trials or whatever, you never really feel like you're being dominated by it. Like there's not really that many tools in its set that's going to make it stand out as a class. Obviously, if a good player is on it, you're going to notice that, but the class as a whole really doesn't stand out much, which I think moving forward, when we're talking about balance, could be a good thing to adjust. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I pre-recorded this the night before Rise of Iron came out, so I'm sorry if you're expecting like a Rise of Iron video. I'll have one out as soon as I possibly can, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you see the guy I'm playing with right now, he had a pretty average game, but his name is Inspire. He recently came back from MDO, and he actually has a YouTube channel, which I'll link you guys in the description box down below. You guys got him to like 800 subscribers in one day, which is ridiculous, and he's trying to do this, trying to get a shot at doing the whole YouTube and Twitch thing. So I'd really appreciate it if you checked out his channel. It would mean a lot to me. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Guardian down. Guardian down.
What? It didn't kill him. I want it.
Heavy ammo inbound.
One more.